Bradford Anderson.
Oh,
How
man.
are you, buddy?
I'm good, dude. I'm so
Good.
excited to talk to our guest today. I've admired this woman for a long time, and we've talked via like social media, but I finally got to meet her. So our viewers will know her from so many different things, but most recently,
yes.
they saw her on an episode of General Hospital last week, honoring our mutual friend Sonya, and so we're so excited to talk to her. We have Yvette Nicole Brown. Hi, Yvette.
Yvette, what's going on, Yvette?
What's up, fellas? I'm doing good. Good to see your faces.
Oh, likewise. It
see
was
you.
so
It's been
it was
a
so
while.
funny when we were filming that. I hadn't read any articles, or I didn't know you were going to be there.
You were so surprised when you saw me in the hallway. It was also it was like my name was visitor, and it was it was supposed to be kind of a secret.
Sure.
Not from you guys, of course, you're on the show, but it was supposed to be like a surprise for the viewers. So it was I kind of snuck in.
How'd that come about?
Well, when we lost Sonya, I tweeted about me and my friend Carla and my friend Octavia Spencer, who everyone knows. And the four of us have been friends for 20 years. And so I was just tweeting about how much she meant to us and talked a little bit about our lives together. And I heard from Mark Teschner, and he said, hey, we're putting together a memorial for her. Would you want to come and play a part of that day? I was like, absolutely. Absolutely.
So cool.
Awesome.
Besides wanting to honor our great friend, all of our great friend,
Yeah.
you guys know I love General Hospital. I've loved General Hospital my whole life and never dreamed I would ever get to do it. And it's such a bittersweet reason to be there. But I feel like Sonya would have been just so excited that I was there.
She would have been so tickled, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how like
sweet.
you said you known her for 20 years, like how did you guys know each other from the business, or like
we act, you know how you guys how you have your tribe, like the people that you start the business with, who you cycle through the business with. Sonya was one of my tribe members. We would audition for commercials, the same commercials, and then there was a show, short-lived, called The Big House. It was Kevin Hart's first sitcom, and we both were testing different characters. She was testing for the mom, I was testing for the daughter. She was playing 20 years older than she was. I was playing about 15 years younger than her. And because she and I are close in age, and we met there, and I just kind of put her in my pocket and collected her, and that was like 2003. So it was
Wow,
so many years, almost 30 years, almost 30 years ago. It's a long time ago.
That's
great. Isn't that nuts? Yeah. So, but you did an incredible job in the episode, by the way.
Thank you.
It was so fun to watch you work. I mean, like but it's not. I asked you, it wasn't your first time on a daytime. So and I think the last time you did one, you saw Steve.
I did.
Right?
Go tell the story. I accosted you.
But you played a reporter though, right? On YNR. Obviously GH was different because you're walking in the building with all these different emotions.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, obviously I don't want to say it meant more to you, but it's definitely different walking at GH. But yes, at YNR we did have some fun for sure.
Well, we also, I can't remember, Steve, if we met first at YNR, if I met you. I was doing The Odd Couple. This is how Young and the Restless
That's
came.
right.
I was doing The Odd Couple. And I remember we were doing a tweet event, a live tweet event. Remember those guys? You see those live tweet events?
Gosh.
Oh, God, horrible. So we were doing one of those in one of the CBS buildings. And I think you were there. I think I accosted you there first. And then when I saw you at Young and the Restless, you were like, this is the woman I have the restraining order on.
Oh, yes.
Please be nice.
That's how I know your name. I saw
me in the hole. I know her. She's on the paperwork. But Steve, I've loved you because I'm a GH fan for forever. I recently just watched one of the first, when you were like the bad guy on the motorcycle and you're on the pier and Robin's there like, don't kill yourself because Stone just died. Like I just watched a bit of that episode on YouTube. So I've been watching you since I was a teenager.
Wow. So was it passed down from your mom or your grandma? What happened?
Of course, grandma. And same
what
with
they do. What they do to you?
Yeah, right.
My grandmother watched Young and the Restless. She watched General Hospital, and I think As the World Turns. Those were her main ones.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right, one from each.
Network. Yeah, that's uncommon. Like that's so uncommon.
Yeah, and then I chose Bold and the Beautiful myself. Continued watching the three that she loved, and I think I've watched every soap opera at some point. All my children, all of them. I watched all of them at least at some point. But GH is like my mainstay.
That's amazing.
What age were you? This is what I always ask because this is so funny.
When I started, listen, with my grandma, I probably was watching soaps from like 6 or 7 or 8. Like I just remember. But how about this? Listen, I was watching the Luke and Laura situation in what was that, 81? I was
81,
like 9 or 10 watching a rape storyline. Like this is not.
No, this is so now we're going to get into this later, but I'm doing all these different conventions now.
Yes.
And I get the mom and the grandma, right? And Bradford and I do too when they come to our shows, but it's like, I go, how old were you when you started? They're like, oh, 6 or 7. I go, call Child Protective Services
Absolutely.
right now. But thank you to grandma and mom for brainwashing you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
But remember, they used to call it Love in the Afternoon. Remember, like it already told you what you're about to see. A lot of people rolling around in the bed and whatnot, and people doing people wrong. And it's like little kids are growing up going, "Oh, so this is what love is. This is what love in the afternoon is." It's back.
It's amazing. Has anyone ever studied like the epidemic of divorce in the last of baby boomers? How much of a role does soap operas play in that?
Listen, you know what's funny? It may not be baby boomers. I think baby boomers hung in there because of
maybe it's the next
Gen
generation.
X that was like, this is crazy. I don't want to. I don't want this in my life.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
Awesome.
Well,
it's so cool that you're such a fan. I love it.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that Steve and I were talking about before we got on with you, was like one of the things that I've always admired about you. And I think, we met kind of via social media because I ran into somebody at a Ralph's in North Hollywood and he tagged me in a tweet that he tagged you in. And then we started talking.
And I was like, this is you. Oh my God. I love, because I love what you do on the show.
Who was that gentleman that I ran into in North Hollywood? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, but he tagged us both. And then anyway, but
you could probably go on Twitter and search and find it.
Sure. Dare we? But like what I've always loved is I see you lifting up other people. Like when you see something that you like, you lift it up and you talk about it. And sometimes that even, I'm not saying you do this to create opportunities for yourself, but then like for the Walking Dead situation, you love that show. And then all of a sudden you're hosting like the post show, and also the fact that, talking about watching watching other shows, like, what is that spirit of, what is it that you want to lift up other people when you see some other people do great work? I love that.
I am a nerd, first of all. And so when I love something, I love it.
Right.
And then I love people. And I think that creative people are just so delicious. I just think actors and writers and directors are so wonderful. And to put, now that I'm in the industry and know how much it takes to put a good show out on the air, when we were doing Community, we were doing 16-hour days. Like we were killing ourselves for the enjoyment of other people. And so knowing how hard it is for all of us, especially soap actors, you guys are learning 30 pages of dialogue and crying and it's all this stuff. It takes so much. So when I see something that is put together beautifully, and I know how hard people work, the crews, the cast, I want everybody to know. And the fact that it then ends up being opportunities for me. Like I'm hosting a lot of Ted Lasso panels, and that came literally from me tweeting about Ted Lasso. I got a random text, you guys, from Jason Sudeikis. Had never met him, did not know him, was talking about the show because I loved it. He was like, you don't know me from Adam. I got your number from Allison Brie from Community. I'm friends with her. I just wanted to tell you thanks for talking about our little show. This is when the show was still just a little show.
Sure, yeah.
And now we're 3 seasons later, and I'm friends with all of them, and I get to host. Cool. It's like Forrest Gump. I'm Forrest Gump, you guys.
That's amazing. I listen.
No, it's just amazing because there's not many people like you who do that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there is, honestly, because because Bradford, when we were talking about it, I'm like, because you're in a position where you don't have, it just tells a lot about who you are because you don't have to do it. Like there's no benefit really for you. You're fine. You got a career. You do voiceover where you've done everything in the world. You don't have to do it. And that just shows that it's a passion for you. And that's what makes, I think, you so connectable to everybody else, because it's just, you're connecting on a human level, which we all have. Like we have, but you're using a platform to show the world, and you're just being you. And I just think that's so awesome.
Thank you. You know what?
I just really do. It's really cool.
Thank you. So. I saw something, I put it on my Instagram. Maya Angelou was talking about, Dr. Maya Angelou was talking about how she lives life now that once she accepted that she was going to die. This is not morbid. It sounds morbid.
No, I love, that's great.
Yeah. Once she accepted that she was going to die and realized that was the one thing that we all had in common and it was never going to change, it removed the sting of death from her. Sure. So she no longer was going through life white knuckling it like, oh my God, I'm going to die. She's like, I'm going to die. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And she said that made her every day give everything she had every day. She showed up with everything she had. And I feel like that is what we do when we do it right as performers and as human beings. And I'm a person of faith as a Christian. When we show up and give instead of take, like if I'm doing this podcast, instead of getting up and going, what can I get from Steve and Brad today? No, how about instead, what can I bring of myself, of my wisdom, of my heart, of my love? What can I give to them and to the people that will listen, that will lighten their load and make their life better? And when you're giving, it always is a better life. Instead of just grabbing, you're going through life going, what am I here to deposit and to plant to make someone's life better?
Practically, that's a good choice with us because we don't have a lot. So,
but what's great about that, because I love so many of her quotes. I mean, she's has so much wisdom. You know, the great thing about that is the constant reminder. And listen, this happens even like with Sonya passing, right? And then another one of our producers on the show, Nika Garland.
I just heard she had sent me my request to come in. I was like, what is happening?
I know. And it's these awful reminders that, going back to what you said, is that we have to stay present daily. Right. It's really moment by moment in the day. How can we bring the best energy? How can we serve others? How can we bring this passion, this love daily and not worry about the future, the past? Right. You know, and so we can be here for everybody, you know, and we have to have these reminders, unfortunately, to go, man, I just better hug someone I love and live today the best I can, because we don't know. Nobody knows.
We don't.
Nobody knows.
And we live every day as if we do. We live every day as if we have all this time in the world. And
I know.
We just don't. With even just with the way how hot it is now. It's so hot. We may not all this rain. There's so much stuff that could take us out. Come on now.
Yeah, no, I just saw in the Sacramento Bee that one of the side effects of all the water is maybe a rise in mosquitoes and all the things
Zika, and then Zika
all the things that could come from that. I watched that video because I think you posted it on your Instagram today, and the clarification that she made when the interviewer was like, "Oh, well, being that present." And this was some years ago, so maybe we didn't talk about presence in the way we do now. But she's like, well, that seems awful greedy. And Angela was like, what? No. But I guess if you're not like, and you think about being present, you're like, oh, I got to absorb all this stuff. I got to be present to take it all in. And she's like, no. It's about being present with the things that you're giving to the situation. Like, and that was such a beautiful clarification.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, but thinking of all the things that you do, we were looking at your IMDb, and I mean, I became more of aware of you during Community, which, speaking about a show that needed some help along the ways, right? Like they could have used you to really, I mean, you guys had a good run.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, but you like, curious, your voice work is like through the roof.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So
like seriously, because Yvette, listen, I did one voice, right? For a video game and a bunch of video games and a movie for like 16 years.
Yes.
It was the only voice work I've ever done. That's
a good gig though. If you talking about a gig, that's a good gig.
That was a good gig. And now I'm doing these conventions, right? These anime voiceover conventions.
They love you.
I'm sure you've done some, because you've done 5 million voices. I mean, I was like, what? Like, this thing never ended when I was looking at the voices. Did you start there?
I haven't. First, I haven't done conventions yet, which I cannot wait to do. I've been kind of in my little COVID cave, so my voiceover kind of took over during COVID for the most part. But, you know what's funny? I started doing voiceover while I was doing Community. Again, Forrest Gump, guys. I was doing Community, and my agent at the time reached out and said, "Yvette, do you have a voiceover agent?" Because he knew that I wasn't with them. I said, "No, I don't have one." He was like, "Well, there's this company called Vox. My friend over there, Tom, wants to know if he can hip pocket you." And I'm like, sure, like, great, like, what, like, people are like doing demos and trying to get an agent, and agents calling to see if I'd like to be hip pocketed. I was like, absolutely. And then I booked Pound Puppies like a month later, and it's been, it's consistent, which is great. It's I don't know how I have the career I have. I'm a kid from East Cleveland. I'm of a certain age. I'm of a certain size. My hair is natural. Like, there's so many reasons that I should not be working. God is good though. Favor ain't fair. But I don't know how it's worked out. I
didn't know you're from Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland.
So am I. I'm from Cleveland.
You know what? Let's just get married. Let's just do it.
It's true. Okay, I'm free. I'm free right now.
Where? What part? How about we
Richmond Heights, Euclid area. That's
Get
where
out of here. I was East Cleveland and Warrensville.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Get out of here. How long were you there?
That's great. I was there until I was 16 years old.
We probably, I'm a little older than
you. I mean,
no, you're not. I'm older than you.
Age.
No, I'm 70. I was born in 70.
I'm 80. Oh, I was born in 71. So you're 1 year older than me. So we probably were at Randall Mall at the same time.
100%.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
No doubt. Or Richmond Mall at some point.
Oh, for sure. I was there. And Euclid Square Mall.
Don't play with Euclid Square. Don't play.
Come on.
Don't play with me with Euclid Square.
That was right down the hill. That was an easy ride on my bike. The
Absolutely.
ride home sucked, but the ride
crazy.
down was easy.
We never talked about this.
That's so crazy. That's awesome.
Small world, man.
Right.
And I'm sure you've told this story on countless other podcasts, but how did you find your way from East Cleveland to LA?
Oh, well, that's it's funny. I was a singer. I've told this story before. I was a singer when I was a teenager. I was signed to Motown with Michael Bivins, Velvet DeVoe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was in the East Coast Family. There's a video, Steve. You can find it. It's
wow, that's amazing.
And ABC, BBD,
yeah,
East Coast Family. Never skipped a beat.
So right, so I thought I was going to be a singer, and so I met Michael when I was 19, and then came to LA a couple of times for music stuff, and thought, well, after I finish college, I'm going to come out and be a singer. And then I graduated from college, and the music business had become, I'm PG-13. I'm Prudy McPrude, and everybody was naked, talking about flip me on the wall, and I was like, I could never. So I was like, I can't sing, I can't be a singer. So I was like, let me just bump around in entertainment a little bit. I worked at a lot of different companies as assistants and a legal secretary, and then I was like, well, let me just try it. Let me see what could happen. And I ended up doing a touring play for 8 months. Came back, got a commercial agent, started booking. And then it just became that. But it literally was, I came out here to be a singer.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's so funny how, because when I started around probably the same time, well, I mean, I might have been.
You got in quicker than me. You got in quicker than me.
Yeah, but it's funny because I started commercials first. That's how I got in.
Me too. That was my first thing.
And then they were like, hey, we have a theatrical department. You want to try this?
Yep.
I'm like, not really, because I can't act. So, and that was proven for the first year. Because
no,
it was not great. It was not great. I had to go back and prove myself. But that's crazy because that our generation, that's kind of, it seems like that was the transition a lot of times, is commercial into theatrical, as opposed to straight into theatrical all the time. So,
but it's the best way to do it though, Steve, because first of all, as you know, it's very lucrative. It's probably when you got in, it was even more lucrative. And
it was so great.
Right. So you don't have to be a struggling actor. You get one national commercial back in the day and you're making 40,000-50,000 a year. That's enough to live off of. And you do 5 or 6 a year.
Yeah,
back
you're
then.
Done. Yeah, it's over. Yeah,
you're done. Yeah, it's great. It's still a great way to start. I tell people all the time, starting commercials.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know, commercials over Zoom or self-tape commercials, like that's a tougher thing. I think they're going back more into the room than maybe theatrical is, right?
I don't think commercials work on Zoom. Auditions work on Zoom because a lot of the commercial audition is the energy outside waiting to go in, talking to people, right?
For sure.
Feeling of my life could change or I could get my light bill paid. Like there's a lot of energy to get to the room when you're doing commercials. And then the energy of, the person that just left and their personality and their joy and whatever, because commercials are all personality and how you look.
Oh, for sure.
And so that energy 100%. Is missing when you're just clicking and watching a different.
Yeah, totally is.
Different face.
Yeah, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know how they cast guest spots that way. Because when you walk into a room, the energy is completely different than what's on that tape.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many times did they get the person that they hired to the set? They're like, oh.
This is the other thing, guys. I haven't had to do a lot of Zoom auditions, thank God, lately, but I did have to do one recently. And I found a hack that I think people are doing. If they're not doing, it's about to help you. You take a Word doc and you put your lines in the Word doc, and then you put the Word doc right under the camera. And you hold your hand on your scroll on your mouse. And as you're looking into the camera, it looks like you're looking into the camera, but you're reading your lines, which means you can give a performance that is spot on. Yeah. And you may not be able to give that same performance when you get on set. And also you can edit your tapes, all of that stuff. And so I think that they might get people on set that are not as prepared, because there's something about the nerves, guys. There's something about being in the room, being nervous, going in, there's a panel of people you have to perform for, showing up for yourself and getting over the nerves and doing well.
Sure.
That carries you when you get on set, because it's the same feeling. You're walking on set. There's a lot of people you don't know. You're nervous. With losing that in-person audition, I think it's hurting us, I think.
That's interesting you say that, because there was something about, especially when I came up, the process of 4 and 5 callbacks, and then you're testing for network after that. You're walking in, you got all the suits,
30 people,
the table, bunched in this small room, and they're like, okay, go. And there's probably nothing more nerve-wracking than that, by the way.
Nothing.
As an actor, especially.
Right, because you also have to sign your deal before you go in. So when you go in, you know exactly how much money you about to not get.
That's true.
So there's a level of like, and again, when I was first starting out, it was always about the light bill. I mean, I would ride buses to some of these auditions. And so I really, really needed to book the gig.
Yeah.
And it's, come on.
Well, it's interesting. Coming from theater, I sometimes, especially like when I would
from theater,
but no, especially when I would book a guest spot, like I'd feel really great in the audition room, and I think it's because I had an audience, and then I'd get to set and just feel like my performance wasn't as good as my audition, because I didn't have that same
audience reaction.
Yeah,
I was trying to connect to a partner, but I wasn't as well versed in the tech, right? I didn't know.
Sure.
I think there was a level of uncertainty when I was working with the cameras and stuff, and just a touch of uncomfortability, because it wasn't the genre I was familiar with. But what I was most familiar with is performing in front of an audience, and so I had that feeling a couple times where what I came out with from the actual filming of the guest spot was not. I didn't feel as good about that as I did about the audition anyway.
Well, you're naturally gifted. So probably what you think is 50% or 70% is somebody else's 500%. That's first. And second, I've heard that from comedians as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. Comedians and theater actors are used to a response to but I think commercial actors, and tell me if you agree, Steve, we are used to getting to set, having no time to get prepared, we gotta go from the time you get there. You ain't got time to worry about if anybody's laughing, anybody's understanding. You got to get this 30 seconds in this 6 hours they have, and you got to sell this product. And so it's always just under the gun. So that feeling is in us. So whatever other set I go on, and I think that helped me doing Y&R and GH as well, because
for sure,
you guys, there is no rehearsal. They go find out where the cameras go, and that's your time to figure out what you're gonna do, and then you get one shot at it.
I was gonna say the same thing about the tech aspect of the commercials. It was somewhat about performance, but it really wasn't that much about performance in commercials. But you did get used to, here's the lights. Oh, here's the camera
right here,
in your face. Yep. You know what I mean? And they punch in. So you got used to that part of it. That's what I was grateful for, because then once you get on set, you're like, okay, I'm okay with this. But it was interesting because with soaps, the I guess the catch-22 is that all the cameras are pretty far away.
I realized that when I was like, where are they? And then I saw the freaking show, and there were and the shot was right here, and I'm like, the camera was never there.
Yes. So you get it's almost you shouldn't be so comfortable, because when you go from daytime to another, back to film, you're like, this is not my friend here anymore.
I'm like, please,
this guy's not my friend.
I'm like, Tootsie, not too close. Not too close.
It's not too close. It's interesting. So what else you got coming up? I know you're doing everything. So what's going on now?
I've got so many great things I'm doing right now. The things that I really, really, not that I didn't like other things I did, but I'm getting to be a little more selective in my older age when I choose stuff. And so I have this great show on Bounce Network called Act Your Age, and it's like a Black Golden Girls, which has been so much fun. I'm working with Tisha Campbell and Kim Whitley, and
that's awesome.
Two amazing younger actresses. Mariah Robinson plays my daughter, and Nathan Anderson, who's Anthony Anderson's son in real life, plays Kim's son. And it's really fun. We're like on episode 7 of 16 in our first season, and it's great. And then
where does Bounce is that a streamer?
Yeah, Bounce is a over-the-air network. This is, you're young, Brad, so you may not know this, but there used to be stations that would just come in from the air. You turn your TV on and they're just there. Yeah. So this is one of those over-the-air stations. The problem is we have so many smart TVs and stuff. Some people need to get an antenna to be able to get it from the sky. You can also get it on Roku. It's on Spectrum and Charter and DirecTV. You just have to search for it, because it's not.
that's kind of putting you behind the wall a little bit on like just education of where to find it, right? Like,
and that's what our press tour has been. It's been saying, hey guys, go to bouncetv.com/find us and put in your zip code and you can find where we are. Or this is the easiest part. Just get a $20 antenna. Whatever TV you have, smart TV, regular TV, you plug the antenna in, rescan your channels, and Bounce will
just start flipping the dial. Yeah.
Start flipping and it's there. So that's the main thing that I'm doing that I'm most excited about. But then I love kids and I love educating kids. So I have 2 really fun animated shows right now. I have a few animated shows, but 2 that have just come out is
that's awesome.
Shape Island, which is on Apple TV Plus, and it's 3 shapes: a circle, a square, and a triangle. They're all different, and they have to learn to live together on this island. And I'm the narrator. And then there's My Dad the Bounty Hunter, which is this great, such a great fun adventure series on Netflix, and it's a Black family in space, and it's
amazing.
That's cool.
Amazing. So those are the 3 work things that I'm doing.
And what are you excited? What are the things that you're watching that you're excited about?
Oh, so many.
Now here she comes.
Here I go. Last of Us is everything, because I love Walking Dead. So Last of Us is amazing. And Pedro Pascal is amazing.
I mean, speaking of people that are everywhere.
Speaking of that, Mandalorian is
right.
I'm in love with Abbott Elementary. I think it is so important, and it's in line with one of my charities. I'm on the board. I'm vice chair of Donors Choose, which is you guys know Donors Choose?
I'm familiar, but tell us more.
Let me just tell people about Donors Choose. It's so amazing. It's an organization, a nonprofit that we know that teachers are underpaid, right? And so
100%.
Come on. So whenever a public school teacher wants to do something for their classroom, they have to pay for it out of the money that they really don't make. So
this is what we've helped fill the list.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as Amazon. What is it called? Fill my list. I don't know what
it's something like that.
Yeah, something like my list. Yeah. So it's kind of like that, except Donors Choose. The teachers say, I want to get everybody Dr. Seuss books. And so they put it up saying these will cost $200, and we, the donors, which is all of us, we can go, I got $5 on it. Or you can be big baller and go, I'm going to buy all of those Dr. Seuss books. And then their Donors Choose packages them up and ships them to the school. The teachers don't have to do anything but put their dream out in the world. And the best thing about it, which I think helps the kids as well, is there's a gratitude component. So when you fund something, you get letters of gratitude from the babies.
The kids will write so sweet. Whatever you need, I'm in.
It's great. I'll tell you, because we always need
literally.
Isn't it great? I'm going to send you.
I think it's the greatest thing, because this is one of the things that pisses me off the most in life, and I try not to get angry as much anymore. But the fact that the teachers have to pay for things out of their own pocket is the biggest disgrace I've ever seen in my life. Teaching our kids, it just should never happen. It should never happen. It'd never be happening. So whatever you need help with,
listen, I'm going to have Bradford give you my information, and then I'm going to connect you with our Donors Choose team. We always need people. There's different initiatives. We always have days where, like, there's been times where I've paid for all the classroom projects in Cleveland, or not Cleveland, because Cleveland's huge. But like for my home school or my home, Warrensville Heights. And so there's always opportunities to do stuff like that. And then if not, even just to amplify what we do. What I do on my Twitter is I always retweet what teachers need. And same way with the Amazon wish list. So just retweeting what they're looking for helps them as well. So it's amazing. So
that's awesome.
That's it. And I want to tell you about one other initiative that I love. Thank you guys for giving me this chance.
You're fine. This is awesome.
I'm a caregiver. I've been a caregiver for 10 years for my dad, who has dementia. And there's this great organization called Caring Across Generations that I'm on the creative council for. And we want television and film to tell more stories of caregiving, so that more people understand what caregivers go through, what the people receiving care go through. And then so we can get the government to help people who need assistance in taking time off to take care of their loved one or their friend who's sick. And so it's called, our Twitter page is at Caring Across Gen, short for generations. And there's, it's me, Bradley Cooper, Meg the Stallion, it's Seth and Laura Miller Rogan. It's a great group of people. And we all have been caregivers or are currently in the process of caring for others.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, send me those links. I can put them in the show notes.
We'll put for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, it's nice to have a saint on the show. I've never thought we were.
Come on. Yes. So, and it was such a treat
to
have you grace our screens on Daytime, and to share in the love for our friend too. So,
she's the best. She's
it's the greatest.
She loved you guys, by the way.
I loved her so much.
We had our viewers know this. We had earlier this, was it 20? Yeah, it was 2022. Spring 22. We were messing around with a live streaming show format, and we were doing kind of like a Tonight Show kind of spin-off, like a stupid version because it's us. And we wanted to have a guest, and so I guess that could be a fun interview, but also sing some songs with us and just have a great time. And of course, the first person we thought of was Sonya, and so we spent a whole Sunday with her, probably 6 straight hours of like thinking about what we're gonna do, planning it, doing it, and then we had the sound system set up, so we just like sang songs and door dashed and had some drinks.
It was awesome.
It was just amazing. Like just a fun day. Like it was like we're just so grateful. Like I'll always be so grateful for that. For everything, but that we had that day with her.
That was one of the best things about her. She was always down for anything. Like if you said,
totally,
hey, we're gonna go to Catalina Island. Okay, what time? You know what I mean? Like there were so many memories of just being at one of our houses, and one of us would cook. Usually not me, but one of us would cook, and the 4 of us would all get together and talk about the industry and what we hoped for and dreamed for. And we literally, all of our salad days, like before Octavia won her Oscar. This is how long ago it was. We would all, I remember when she got the help, she called us to say, my friend wrote this great book and I'm going to be going on a tour doing a speaking. She would go to reading different segments of the help across the country. And she had a regular job while she was doing that. She took time off of her regular job to do that. And it ended up being her being in the film and working friends with Tate, who's the director. And
so crazy.
Now where she is now, but we all were friends back then.
That's awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you again, Yvette. This has been amazing.
What a great day.
So
wonderful. Yeah. Great day.
It's wonderful. Let me know when it's this airs so I can you know me, I'm gonna post about it.
Yeah. Wednesday.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.